evening or good morning on this Friday night, Saturday morning. It's going to be different tonight. There will be no guests. No guests tonight. It's just the two of us, actually. And what we're going to do all night long, I repeat again, all long, is tell ghost stories. On Halloween, it goes to ghost, and Ghost to Ghost interrupt us because of the Pegasus stories. So tonight there shall be nothing but ghost stories. Your ghost stories. Why are why are ghosts so interesting? And the answer is, for me, a simple one. In my eternal search for knowledge of the other side, one great field to look at is that of spirits or ghosts, or we don't really exactly, precisely know what ghosts are. They apparently are many things, and they may be proof that we do exist after we die in one form or another. It may not necessarily always be good. It seems as though people who die early, people who die young, people who die unexpectedly, people who die tragically, people who die with things left to do yet in their life, many times seem to remain the collective evidence in your own journey, your own search of trying to figure out what happens to us after we die. Do we remain on Earth? Do we go to another place? And can we get back from that other place? Houdini is said to have tried to do so. Set it up before he died, hasn't yet made it. But there are so many, many stories. Now, I'm going to Vancouver next week. I'm going to be doing an episode of Millennium, which I'm going to do myself. But here's a story from the city of my destination, Vancouver, entitled S. Brickman. It's a simple, short story. It is that are these DPR yards at the foot of Granville Street, Vancouver, have been haunted by a headless brakeman since 1928. Now that was the year that Cub Clark, a railway brakeman, literally lost his head in the yards. One dark and rainy night, he slipped, he fell off a freight train, and his head hit the rail next to the freight track. He was knocked unconscious, and a passenger train speeding down the track severed his head from his body 2 inches below the Adam's apple. Thereafter, stories circulated about how a headless man in railway overalls was seen in the yard on dark and rainy nights. Apparently, for years, Vancouver railwaymen joked, "Don't throw your pumpkin away after Halloween." Clark could use it. The headless brakeman was last sighted on a dark and rainy, very rainy night, in fact, darting between boxcars in 1942 by a railway worker. The story is told by Ted Ferguson in The Sentimental Journey, an oral history of train travel. And this is a very, very interesting story. It's not a very specific ghost story, or maybe it is. I don't know. It kind of goes with somewhere in time, in a way. Dear Art, this is a rather unconventional ghost story, but it shows how those on the other side can manipulate things. In 1992, I was working as a 911 emergency paramedic in Oakland, California, one night. As I was getting ready for work, I kept watching this TV show about ghosts. One of the stories caught my attention, so I sat down to watch. Now, this might also come under the category of synchronicity. You tell me as you listen. It was about the hotel Hotel del Coronado, California. You know, the hotel where it's from like it's hot. Marilyn Monroe was still. In the story, this woman named Kate was currently haunting the hotel. I watched the rest of the story, then ran out of the door, almost late for work. As my partner and I sat waiting for a call, I began to tell her the story that I'd seen on TV, but for some unknown reason, I couldn't remember the name of the hotel. At that moment, we got an emergency call. We ran the call, brought the patient to the hospital. The whole time I'm trying to remember the name of that doggone hotel. We arrive at the hospital and wheel the patient inside. As I'm giving my report to the nurse in the emergency, I just happen to glance behind the desk, and hanging on the wall is a calendar. And the full color large picture on the calendar is, you guessed it, the Hotel del Coronado. Well, we didn't pay attention to these little things and took this as an invitation from Kate to visit her hotel. So, I reserved one of their smallest, cheapest rooms. And the next time I had a 4-day weekend, I packed up my convertible, drove down the coast from San Francisco to San Diego, arrived at the hotel, went up to the desk to check in, and the nurse says, "Oh, I'm sorry, all of the small cheap rooms like the one you had reserved are booked up." Let me see. "Oh, we do have this suite with a balcony overlooking the courtyard in the old section of the hotel. Will that be all right?" He said, "I'll give it to you for the same price as the small cheesy room you had reserved." Naturally, I say okay, and I'm beginning to think this is going to be a very interesting stay. So, up I go to the bubble bath, drank a beer, to the room bar. Shouldn't do that, other terrible. Jumped on the bed, as is my habit anytime I stay in an expensive hotel. I took a nap and got dressed for dinner. Went down the bar for a cocktail. The bartender brought all of my drinks. At dinner in one of the restaurants, and when I asked for my check, it told me that a gentleman who had been seated across the room had paid the check. The rest of the visit was uneventful, no apparitions, no funky stuff, until the stay at the hotel never showed up on my credit card bill. Now, I'm a notably honest person, and under normal circumstances, I probably would have called the hotel bill Coronado. Told them about their oversight. However, when viewed with everything else that occurred, the calendar, the upgrade, the free drinks, the free dinner, it was rather apparent to me that I had indeed been a guest, Kate's guest, at the Hotel del Coronado. She was a fine hostess, and I hope to return these days. And I have, of course, more like this. And if any of you have a particularly good ghost story, we're going to do two things. One, we are going to tell ghost stories from those of you who fall on the following lines. And we are going to also invite you, rather than sending in a fax with your ghost story, if you have a particularly good one, send me a fax with your phone number, and I will call you. I will call you because your odds of getting through obviously are rather slim. So if you just give me a brief outline on the facts of what your ghost story is, and then provide a phone number, so we'll experiment, do things a little differently tonight, but make no mistake about it. All night long, we are going to do absolutely nothing but ghost stories. If you wish, call it Ghost to Ghost. Call it anything you want. But I suggest you dim the lights and prepare yourself. All phone lines tonight, including the internet, which by the way is open. I normally use that for guests, but I don't get a lot of international calls. But it's open. So wherever you are in the world, it doesn't matter where you are in the world, If you have a ghost story, like the ones that people about we are heard worldwide. To access this program from any other country, get hold of the AT&T operator, or get the AT&T operator and have her call USA toll free. Be sure to tell her toll free. 800 893 0903. That's 800 893 0903. But all lines, all mics, all ghost stories. First time calling line, you're on the air.
Carrie calling from Oregon.
Hello, Kay. How are you? You're going to have to get good close to the phone because you're not too loud.
How's it?
That's better.
Alright. Well, my boyfriend's brother, he moved into this house in Providence, Rhode Island. And come to find out, it used to be a funeral home. And like they have the places like in the basement where, they burn the bodies and did all that crazy stuff.
Cremation.
Yeah. And now he feels like there's a ghost there. Like things will be missing, like things you don't misplace, like toothpaste, cutting boards, it's gone. And one time his roommate, they were just sitting there drinking coffee. His roommate went into his room because he finished his cup and he came back out. And it was completely filled, hot. Mason didn't get it for him or anything. And it wasn't even made right how he liked it. And he said sometimes, like a door will slam. One time he actually had to leave because he was so scared because there was like rubbing all on the walls, clanging noise.
Let me tell you a little story back.
Okay.
I saw a movie the other night. I can't recall the name of it, unfortunately. Now a million people will send it to me, but it was about a man who went to work in a morgue, and he was a guard in the morgue. And he would have his little guard desk, and he'd have his little, guards have keys, and they have to make the rounds, turn the keys so that the owner knows they really made their assigned rounds at night. And he had a desk and a workstation when he wasn't having to make his rounds. And there was this red light behind him. And in the morgue, they would have the bodies all lined up on these cots covered with sheets in a what's called a cold room. But above each body, there was a pull cord. A cord you could pull.
Just in case.
Just in case. And should somebody pull that cord, it would obviously mean to the guy sitting at the desk that one of the bodies in the morgue had reanimated, not unheard of. And I'm not going to tell you any more than that, but I will tell you it went on. Okay?
Yeah, it's pretty weird. And is there who would you go about calling? Say if you wanted to have a specialist come in there and see, what was going on. Any idea?
Oh, yeah. I have many people. In fact, the guest I'm going to have on this coming Monday night might be exactly the person you're looking for.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy because
his name, now listen, is Jerome Clark, and he wrote a book called Unexplained, Strange Sightings, Incredible Occurrences, and Puzzling Physical Phenomena. Now, he'll be here Monday night, Tuesday morning next week. Somebody like that is the kind of person we need. Okay?
Definitely. Thanks so much for your help.
You bet. Take care, and Wildcard Line, you're on the air.
Yeah, Bart, this is Greg from El Cajon, California.
Hey, Greg.
How are you?
Are just fine.
I have a good one for you.
Okay.
Do I have about 4 or 5 minutes?
You do?
Excellent. My wife's mother had died back in February 13th of this year. And prior to her death, my wife and children and I had stayed with her overnight in that house on many occasions. Sure. Just a normal home. Nothing strange, very comfortable there, no problems whatsoever.
You would just be visiting her and stay there.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Taking up the house at the time of her death went into probate. And of course, my wife and her siblings wanting to leave the house empty, of course, because of vandals and that sort of thing. My wife and our two daughters and unborn son moved into that empty house on March 1st of this year.
Makes sense.
Shortly after, my family and I took occupancy of the home. Certain events started to take place.
Like what?
Well, just to paraphrase, so also at this time, on around March 10th, we adopted a German Shepherd Beagle mix that has made my life feel a lot better, of course, because I work late at night, sometimes till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning.
Like me.
Yeah, there you go. And it gave her a peace of mind because the house was out in the country.
Okay. Like me.
Yes, sir. And within the first 2 weeks that we took up residence in my wife's deceased mother's home, my wife would relate to me from time to time that she felt as she was being watched intensely. I myself, at the time being a complete skeptic, dismissed the information as an overactive imagination, which I probably should not have. That was my belief until the evening of March 16th, 1998, when my eyes were widely open. On that evening, I was having dinner with my wife and children, and my sister-in-law and her 2 children, teenage children, were over to the house for dinner, just a few weeks after moving into the house. Everyone had left but my wife and I. And I was sitting in a position in the dining room, at the dining room table area, that allowed me to look all the way down the hallway into one of 3 bedrooms, which was my youngest daughter's at the time.
Sure.
At that point, I saw something that's still hard for me to describe. It was an aura of what seemed to be a woman's form, with a lot, to me, of what seemed to be energy.
In other words, indistinct, kind of a foggy light aura.
Yes, sir.
All right.
And it definitely was, it seemed to be the shape of a woman. I was so motionless and locked into what was happening at the time that I almost lost relative consciousness of what or where I was, except for what was going on in that room. My wife was sitting over to the right of me and asked me what I had seen, and I described it to her. And she said something to the effect of, "You too?"
You too?
Yeah.
You mean she saw it as well?
She had seen and felt things before me, and yet had never, over that period of time, that 2-week period since we moved in there.
Can you hang on through the break?
Absolutely,
Or stay right where you are. When one sees it, you can imagine a bit of undigested meat. When 2 see it, well.
To talk with our pal in the Kingdom of Nine from outside the U.S., first, dial your access number to the USA. Then, 800-893-0903. If you're a first-time caller, call Art at 702-727-1222. From east of the Rockies, 1-800-825-5033. West of the Rockies, including Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, and New Mexico. Call Art at 1-800-618-8255 or call Art on the wildcard line at area code 702-727-1295. This is Coast to Coast AM from the Kingdom of Nine.
My suggestion, turn the lights down, turn the radio up, get as comfortable as you can, because some of what you hear is going to require you be in a nice, comfortable place. By the way, with respect to my story about the Hotel Del Coronado, I just got this. Hi, Art. My sister-in-law actually works at the Hotel Del Coronado as a concierge. She says the ghost stories are real, and you can, even if you wish it, rent. I repeat, you can rent The Haunted Room. That's from Jeff in Amherst, Ohio. Wonder if that's really true. Thank you, Jeff. And by the way, for any of you who have ghost stories out there, just send me a fax and tempt me. Tell me how good it is and give me a phone number. And if I am tempted enough, I will call you and get you on the air. My fax number is area code 702-727-8499. If you can't tempt me in one page, you can't do it, so hold it to one page. Now, back to the gentleman who saw the apparition down the hall in the bedroom that then turned to his wife, and his wife saw it too, right, sir?
Yes, she had seen it, but it was at a different time.
And so then what? I mean, did you sit there and compare notes with her, or what?
Well, I had the hair was standing up on the back of my neck guard,
I'm sure it was.
and I didn't know what to think. I just moved my wife and my children into a house, and I didn't know how long I was going to be there.
Did you think about getting out?
You know, at that point, I really didn't know.
You know what? I actually, it's so easy to say, man, I'd be out of there like a shot. But the fact of the matter is, there are financial considerations, there are physical considerations. You have a wife, you have children, you have a lot of furniture, you moved into a house. So you don't just immediately make a decision to split.
Let me tell you, Arthur, the rest of my notes that I have here for you that I compiled today, you're going to think more and more why we didn't actually get out. On or around March 22nd, I was alone in the house. My wife had left with her sister, and my children, they went over visiting for the day. It was around the noon hour. I was preparing to leave for work. I had just come out of the restroom that adjoined our master bedroom. Bear in mind, our bedroom used to be my deceased mother-in-law's bedroom.
Oh.
In a fairly quick instant, I looked over my right shoulder, and I can see this as plainly as the day that, in my mind, is the day that I did see it. In just a few seconds' time, I saw my deceased mother-in-law leaning over the dresser area where her dresser used to be in her room. And it appeared as if she was leaning over to place something down.
This time she was of more form.
Yeah. Shortly thereafter, that situation, interesting and strange phenomena began to occur. My deceased mother-in-law there was a beautiful type plush white carpet, very white carpet in her home. It was throughout the home. There was no variance throughout any of the rooms whatsoever, and I'm just giving the details so the listeners understand what I'm about to say. One morning, I believe it was the end of March, 1st of April, my wife said, "Honey, come look at this." And I said, "Well, when you walk barefoot on the carpet, Art, it would leave almost a type of imprint of your foot."
I understand exactly what you're saying.
And so we experimented a little bit. This was not my wife's footprint, Art. It wasn't my footprint. It was much too large to either of my daughters.
Sure.
We just stood there looking down, and my wife said, "I know it's my mother's. I know it's my mother's footprint, and she lived with her mother until she married me, until she was 19 years of age." She felt that, also too, from that time on, that the constant set of eyes or being watched was all the more ever present. Our dog, on many occasions, Art, would stand up and stare across the house into our bedroom, whining, staring. And it's not
I'm going to ask, it's an embarrassing question. You don't have to answer this, but if it was your wife's mother running the house, present in the house, didn't that kind of take the edge off moments of intimacy for your wife?
Well, at that time, Art, and like I said, that is a personal question. My wife was only about 3 months from delivering our son.
I see. You say no more. That's fine.
Very pregnant.
Otherwise, I can imagine it would be fun.
I can understand what you're saying, and I do agree to that with that.
Mom, if you're listening, you know that.
In the summer months, another factor started to come into play, and this is one when I was writing it earlier this evening, because I'm listening to this as much in chronological order as I can.
Sure.
I was reluctant to discuss this, and the only reason I am discussing it right now is after we've moved out, and we're living where we're living now, I asked my wife if she, I didn't want her to think I was nuts. So I asked her, and she looked at me and said, yes, I had to, and that's the next part of the story. At night in my wife and I's bedroom, which of course was my deceased mother-in-law, at times my vision in the dark, I would lay awake at times and it would start to blur. Very, if not demonic type faces would appear in the dark room. They would come, it was very sharp to me, and they would fade out slowly.
That would be enough for me.
And the thing that bothered me about this art was, if this was my mother, it wasn't that obviously to me was not my mother-in-law. Obviously, her appearance was not as foreboding as this particular situation. And that's when I started thinking, my God, is there a portal or something else that follows?
That's exactly where I was about to go. We've got to wrap this up, but that's exactly where I was going. Is there a clothesline to this, or is that essentially, did you get out of there, or what?
Well, at that point, those things were starting to happen at the end of the summer. There were thumping noises on the wall. Many occasions at the noon hour, almost on certain days, frequently the phone would ring. There would never be anybody there. And the one thing that I would like to say, Art, and this is probably of some interest to you, I often wonder at this point if the intrusion, taking nothing but a appearance by my mother-in-law in the last few recent days to my wife, has appeared. There hasn't been anything since we moved to our new home.
Well, all right. Listen, thank you so very much. There are two things here. One, it's pretty well known, and I can't explain why. Maybe you can. Maybe one of you can. Why a spirit, apparently clamped on Earth, or one that has not yet moved on, remains essentially in the same place, the same house, same geography, the same place. One. And the second thing that I would draw from that is, he said it himself. Do you think it might be true that once something has come through, or is visible on both sides, depending on how you want to look at it, that in essence a portal has opened, allowing not just the spirit of his mother. That's what some thought. On our international line, you are on the air. Good morning to you.
Hi, this is Mark from Auckland, New Zealand.
Auckland, New Zealand. Yes, sir. Welcome to the program.
Yes, I have a bit of an unusual ghost story to tell. I frequently have out-of-body experiences, and one time I managed to catch a glimpse of my anger.
What? What?
Yes.
Now, if anything would stop you from having OBEs, assuming that could happen at will, that would do it. You saw your own ghost.
Yes, well, people who frequently have out-of-body experiences know that you sometimes get stuck in your corporeal body, your physical body. This frequently happens to me, and there was one time a part of me separated while my vision remained in my body, my physical body, and I saw this watery
Oh my! In other words, you saw your spiritual self in a visual way, but with the vision from your own body leaving your body.
Yeah, I saw it walking across the room. Well, I saw myself walking across the room. It's like a third person perspective.
Did that stop you from doing that?
No, I've had more heroin experiences than that. That was unusual. That hasn't stopped me.
It would have stopped me cold. All right, my friend, thank you. That's from New Zealand. That would have stopped me cold. To have the physical vision remain in a somewhat active mind and to see your spirit leave your own body and to realize that your essentially dead spiritless body is observing its own spirit leaving. Eastern Rockies are on the air.
Good morning.
Hello, where are you?
I'm in Austin.
Austin, Texas. All right.
This story is kind of secondhand because it's something my mother told me happened before I was born.
It's all right. What is your name?
Sarah.
Sarah. Okay, Sarah.
Okay. She was living in Salem, Massachusetts with my father. They'd gotten married recently.
Right.
And in the house they were living, I think it was probably an old house, these things started happening. First, the cats started acting weird. Like they'd be running across the room and all of a sudden they'd stop like there was a wall in front of them.
Yes, I've seen cats do that many times. They see things we don't.
Yeah. And once or twice she said she found them in shut dresser drawers.
Cats?
Yes. They had gotten inside the drawer and it was shut behind them. She was alone in the apartment. And once the bathroom door was stuck. And she wasn't sure why it was stuck. She kept trying to get it open. My father wasn't home, so she had to get a neighbor to help her open it. And it took him a lot of work to get it open. And when they got it open, it was like 20 degrees colder in the bathroom than it had been anywhere else in the house.
Really?
Yes. And then my father would start, he would say he felt a hand on the back of his neck. So my mother was across the room or in a different room and there was no one else in the house. And then the last thing that happened, my mom said this was the last thing that happened, and after that, nothing ever happened. My father came into the room where she was, and he was like all white and shaking, and told her that he had been walking up the stairs. He saw this woman walking down the stairs towards him, and that she was wearing like old-fashioned clothes. That was all they told me. I didn't get any more details than that. She was walking towards him. And then when they passed each other on the stairs, he felt like totally cold all the way through. And then she vanished, and then they never saw anything else again.
I sure do appreciate the story.
Yeah, I thought you'd want to hear it.
Now, you're right. Thank you. I wonder what it is about the presence of an entity that causes temperatures to drop. And by the way, I might add measurably drop. I have interviewed any number of ghost researchers, and it's about half and half. Some say they're unable to measure the temperature drop, but they can certainly feel it. The other half say they have measured up to, as this young lady said, up to 20 degrees more difference. Sometimes right down to freezing. She mentioned cats and brings to mind the following. Again, from Canada. Canada must be a very haunted place. Where I live, we have woods by our house, about 7/10 of a kilometer by 6/10 of a kilometer in size. And in this woods is a man some time ago who hung himself, actually 70 years ago, when his wife had died at an early age. 70 years ago, the land that everyone is now living on was farmland. And ever since those woods, they have belonged. The only thing about the man was he was a cat lover. He had about 4 cats. And I can tell you there is something about those woods that is pretty freaky now. Every now and then, even now, there is a gathering of cats in the woods. No lie, I've seen them. They just sit around, 10 to 20 of them. Tell you what I'll do. I'll try and get a picture of it next time it happens. I believe the cats are gathering in this man's name. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Hello, Mark. This is Mike calling from Tuesday, Maui, Hawaii.
Hello, Mike. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. Actually, I told you this briefly a few years ago. My wife Bonnie and I had gone over to Hawaii pre-Iniki, the year before Iniki hit.
Oh, the big terrible hurricane.
We stayed at an older, fairly flat resort called the Coco Palm. It was nice. We had driven around the day. We went back to the hotel, pretty tired. And we went to bed after listening to the little band downstairs. Sometime in the night, I woke up, I got my back on the bed, and something really large, kind of glowing, was at the foot of the bed. It was human shaped, and it scared the Jesus out of me, to the point where I was petrified and could not move.
Describe it more than that. Human shape. Sort of a mystery or try and do a little better.
Well, at least 7 feet tall. If it was a person, it probably would have weighed several hundred pounds.
Oh, so this is very large.
Like 250, 300 pounds. The perception I got was that it was kind of glowing like a glow stick. You know those green glow sticks you crack at night?
Yes.
Okay, well, it scared me so bad, all I did was close my eyes. Whatever it is, it's going to go away. I'm closing my eyes. That's it. Woke up in the morning, my wife and I finished our time on Hawaii, went to Oahu, and driving from the airport over to Pali to the other side, I told her on the Pali and said, you know what, Dave? Last night, there was something in our room. And she turned to me, and the chicken skin started. That's when you get the goosebumps.
As I call it, Hawaiian chickens.
She freaked out with her big Hawaiian eyes and looked at me and said, I saw it too. And I said, well, what did you see? Apparently she must have seen a little more than I did, and or perceived more than I did.
Maybe she didn't close her eyes.
I sure did. My wife said that she saw a very large Hawaiian float in through the window and stand at the foot of our bed, and it was, to her, she said, it was very pissed off. It was
Pissed off Hawaiian.
a pissed off Hawaiian. Now, I'm white. My wife's almost pure Hawaiian. I'm wondering, is this a Hawaiian ghost looking down, seeing a local woman with a white man,
I hear you.
angry?
I hear you.
That was very disturbing, and we both had chicken skin for quite some time that evening. One more recently, unfortunately, my wife's lovely father, who lives over in Waimea on the Big Island,
Yes.
he was diagnosed with a terminal cancer around May this year, and he decided that he would prefer not to fight it and would go with hospice care and prefer to live out his remaining time in the living room at home. And with a lot of the homes here in Hawaii, we have day beds in the living room.
No, I understand that. I think I would make the same choice.
So, Shem, that's his name, her dad, spent out his remaining time in the living room on the beautiful hospice bed provided. Mom lovingly cared for him, and it was wonderful because we had time and all of us family could come by and say aloha. Well, we were staying there, and he has not yet passed away, and the only room left because of all of the ohana, or family over, is Mom and Dad's room. They really don't sleep in too much anyway because they sleep in the living room. Anyway, Dad is still alive, but getting near the end. This has been within 3 days of him passing on. My wife and I go to bed about 11 o'clock at night in the parents' bed, sleeping on my stomach, and something gives me a finger jab poke through the mattress into my wrist. It felt like it came up about 2 inches. It woke me up, scared the hell out of me, and I said, Bonnie! I said, what? There was something poking me in the wrist. And I rolled over onto my back. And she goes, "Are you okay?" I go, "Yeah." But what was that? She goes, "I don't know." And then something, the pressure of someone sitting down on my leg. And I said,
On your leg?
"On my leg." I said, and I'm getting kitchen skin now. I'm freaking out remembering. I said, "Dave, it's sitting on my leg. What am I going to do?" She said, "It's okay. All right. It's probably just Dad spirit coming into the room saying, 'You're in our bed.'" I said, "Well, he's not dead yet." He said, "You know, that his house and we can move around when you want."
Sure.
I said, "Dave, I'm actually sleeping in that room. I can't handle this. It's too much." He said, "Okay." So we switched with her sister. And Dad passed on shortly after that. He has not yet myself. He's returned to visit Mom twice. I'm a little leery about visiting.
Why do you think the state of Hawaii is such a haunted state?
You know,
It is, though. I've had guests on who have told story after story like the ones like the ones you just told. Hawaii is a very, very haunted set of islands. There's no question about it.
you and your wife, well, your wife's from Oahu, then.
That's correct.
Thank you for listening, Art. I hope your audience keeps in mind that the loved ones are close by.
Take care, sir. All right, that's it. Tonight, all we're doing, as you can already tell, are ghost stories. Real ghost stories. And it's so easy to do. You know why? Because there are so many of them. Almost as many of them as there are you. We'll be right back.
And now back to the best of our sound.
All right, I'm on my way to the sorry about that. I get caught up in stories. Here is a gentleman who works, or did work actually, he did the same thing I did in a 911 dispatch center. I got fired from the dispatch center. Where are you, sir?
I'm in Birthday, Washington.
Well, program.
Well, thank you, Art.
You're about to tell me that you have had ghosts call 911.
In a way, yeah. It was basically to, it would be well over 100-year-old emergency, I would say, of a dying woman in a small Mexican village on the banks of the Santa Ana River.
My God. 100-year-old emergency.
Middle 1864, to be exact. So it's a time travel story as well as a ghost story, I guess it is.
Well, it may be that where the spirits are, there is no time as we hunters quite exactly understand it.
Oh, sure. You know, if they have a story to tell, they can wait for eternity if they have to.
Well, apparently, one did, at least part way.
Well, let me tell you a little bit about how this started. I had just started at this fire communications center. It was on the banks of the Santa Ana River. This was in 1984. And basically it was a 24-hour operation. We were on a 24-hour shift. So we would sleep and eat. Pretty much live there for an entire day and then be relieved by the relief crew and work that type of schedule. So normally my shift would end at 8 p.m. 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. I would get to sleep from 8 p.m. till 1 a.m. and then go back on the board till 4 in the morning. That way we could get a couple hours of uninterrupted sleep. Well, I thought the strangest thing was that none of the dispatchers would sleep in the dormitory. It struck me as pretty odd. They all seemed afraid of the place. And you know the dispatch personality, they're usually guys that are lost all into the picture.
Oh, yes.
They're pretty fearless people, basically. But we have guys sleeping in the hallways or staying down in the lounge, you know, that type of thing. Well, I've been on for about a week, and I got woken up in the morning by the intercom saying I could actually don't move because I was going to have to work a 12-hour overtime shift. Somebody called in sick, and I was basically up for it. Well, about a half hour later, and usually these things happen when you're dead asleep. I felt something lay across my leg. There was a groan, like something going, when they're stretching. And I woke up and I saw this kind of it wasn't a mist, it was almost like a gelatinous fog breaking above my head. The room was pitch black dark, which was really a strange thing. Anyway, I stumbled out in the dispatch center and asked people, what the heck is going on, and, what are they cleaning dates, and they all gave a conspiratorial look to each other and said, go back to bed, we'll tell you about the ghost later. Right? So I slept real well to that.
Yeah, right.
Well, anyway, it was uneventful. I came back for the next shift, and that's when the weird things happened. 1 in the morning, just a little bit before 1 in the morning, I went into the strangest dream I've ever had. I was walking along the banks of the Santa Ana River, and it felt, I knew it was 1864, I just knew it. And I thought, this is the strangest dream. The one thing, I'm here, I can feel the wind on my skin. It was just barely blowing. I could hear the leaves rustling. I could feel the sand crunch underneath my feet along the banks of this river. And I thought, wow, this is really interesting. I know where I'm at. I'm right by the fire dispatch center, but the city's gone. There's nothing here. Where are all the children?
You mean you were literally seeing the same geography minus the buildings and people?
Except for, differences, the variations of the river as it changes over the year. But my internal radar and compass told me I was exactly at the fire dispatch center. I was actually walking up to it, approaching northbound along the banks of the Santa Ana River. And I saw this small house. Kind of like an adobe little house like you would see, part of a rancho or a very small village. And this woman appeared in the door. And she was what she was called, probably about a 20-year-old, really beautiful senorita. She was just gorgeous, long flowing hair, and a smile that would melt your heart. It just was like, wow, what's going on? Anyway, she beckoned to me to come to the door, and as soon as my foot hit the threshold of this little house, I was kind of transported into her, you know what I mean? It's like she doubted with me, for want of a better word. We were like one person.
Bob would say mind meld, yeah.
Almost like that, but not quite as as quite as good as get something on the process. This was like a total 2 bodies and 2 souls, completely linked together. Wow. And it was an instant feeling of warmth and love and a tremendous sexual rush, which later on I found out that happens sometimes. Anyway, she kind of separated from me and beckoned me into the house. And I went in there and she showed me this old woman laying on a bed. And prior to entering the fire service, I'd been an ambulance driver in LA and pretty much know when a person is ready to breathe their last. And this woman was definitely, she was what they call change-choking, that, final type of breathing. And she had on a kind of like a floral print shift dress. And this girl started to tell me that, she was the last of the small village, and she had stayed there and taken care of all the people that were sick, and they had a drought and a famine, and some type of terrible disease that comes to the community and killed a lot of people. And basically everybody just packed up and went upriver to try to find a better place to live, took all his children and healthy people and animals, and they all just quit.
Makes sense, yeah.
And she was the last one, taking care of the last person alive that could not make it trip. Well, to make the long story shorter, she basically started telling me how all these people died. This is when the dream got really bad. And it was like I was trapped in this place. If you know, well, you obviously know the personality of the dispatcher was fully in control of his environment.
Nice for me.
You are the savior of the city, otherwise you'll never make it. Anyway, it was the first time in my career that I ever felt totally trapped and scared and wanted to just get up and run from the dispatch center. Even though, I wasn't there, but I was. All these faces started coming out. They were all like the villagers, which is what lived in that part of California at the time. And as each face came at me, I dived with them. And they were talking to me. And one after another, like again, 100 faces coming. Literally face to face with me. And I felt the pain of their death.
I take it you didn't sleep in there again.
Oh, I did. I was not going to let this. I was going to get to the bottom of what the heck was going on with this thing.
Anyway, there was, I used to hate it when 1 o'clock would roll along, the dispatcher boys would come on the street and say, get out of this back, it's time to hit the board. Well, the dispatcher that was handling the shift came on and he pulled me out of my sleep. Anyway, I stumbled into the communications center, didn't even put on my uniform. I was drenched in sweat, I had this big lump in my throat, these tears were just like pouring down my face. And he looked at me and said, what the heck happened to you? So I told him, I think I just got visited by a ghost. And that's when he finally said, oh, these darn ghosts, it's like, they've been banging on the switchboard all night. I've had this creepy feeling like something standing here watching me, and I can't take this anymore. I'm going to go sleep in the lounge. I'm not sleeping in that dorm anymore. So I figured, okay, well, there is something here that's not good to see. Well, what ended up happening is, once my story came out, all the other guys and the women that worked there started opening up and started giving stories. Sure. We had a Mexican dispatcher. He was basically a guy that to him true love was finding a hooker that would take $25. And he was just the most lazy person I've ever met. Took a shower maybe once a week if he needed it. And he told me this really interesting story about how he would have these nightmares that he was totally trapped in his bed, like something was crushing his chest. And he would talk to Spanish, and the other dispatcher would say, yeah, when this guy is sleeping, he starts speaking Spanish, and that's when he's having these nightmares.
Well, it's obvious, to be fair. Thank you very much for your story. It's obvious to me what's occurring. I do work in a 911 dispatch center, and on a daily basis, even an hourly basis, you deal with life and death. Actually, I've known it but you deal with life and death. I'm the kind of person that takes my work home with me. And so it was not the job for me. But a place of haunting, oh yes. Place of crisis, a place where death is documented nearly on an hourly basis. On my first time calling line, you're on the air. Hello. Hi there. Where are you?
From London, Ontario, Canada.
London, Ontario. Haunted Canada, yes, sir.
Yes, we are pretty haunted. Actually, the one I've got is from happened when I was about 8 years old. We were a bunch of us sitting around, messing around. The guys I was with decided to hold a dance. And we were sitting in my friend's basement, and
You decided to hold a dance.
well, yeah,
That's like you're really inviting.
well, yeah, that's what I like. I didn't take part. I sat out in the corner like, no, this isn't for me. Besides, I didn't really believe in that stuff at the time. After that, I really changed. Halfway through the dance, I kept hearing these strange noises. We were sitting in his basement, and they just kept going, stomach noises. Not me. They were just shot. They're trying to get a hold of the ghost. And all of a sudden, something made me look out from the corner. He had an old TV that his dad was going to throw sitting in the corner. Well, when I looked, I noticed it started to glow. And after a few minutes, it just exploded.
The television exploded?
Yeah. The whole screen blew out. And what did it for me was the fact it was unplugged. The thing is, the TV wasn't plugged. When I looked on top of it, I saw other people holding the doorbell in the darkness.
A dark man?
Yeah. I saw a dark, I could tell it was a man. He was sitting cross-legged on the TV, wearing long coat. He just looked at me, smiled, nodded, stood up, and disappeared.
Yeah, there's so bad.
Well, the thing is, no one else saw it but me. They
Well, I mean, yeah, but what about the television? You said the television.
Oh, they also saw the TV explode. His mom came downstairs yelling what happened, and we were just nothing. Like, I couldn't tell her, well, someone on top of the TV made it blow up.
First of all, a television under no circumstance, sitting there, sedentary, not plugged in. Televisions do not explode, period.
Oh, I know that.
Even plugged in ones. That'd be it for me.
Well, the the thing is that, like, for me, you think you'd be scared, but I was just looking at it going, okay, that was odd. And I mean, since that day, I've seen the same dark man every so often out of the corner of my eye, or it's almost like he's watching.
Maybe he's waiting for you.
Well, that's what I think. Because like, ever since then, I've seen him, and if I don't see him, I'll hear him call my name.
Yes.
And the thing is, it's loud and clear. Other people have heard it, and we can be in an empty hallway. And we'll hear my name clear.
Maybe one day when he calls your name, you will go with him.
Oh, that's what I thought. And the thing is, though, like I said, I'm not afraid of it. It's almost like he's there protecting me or something.
Maybe you should be afraid.
Well, everyone says that, but I don't know. Like I said, it's just something about him doesn't seem to be scary. He just seems to be there. He doesn't seem to be preventing any harm to me.
I mean, you've got to consider that he's there for a reason.
Oh, that is pretty sure. I mean, that is I think I've started seeing other ghosts as well. So.
All right. Well, I appreciate your call. I'm a little hesitant to suggest to you that you may be associating with somebody who was going to take you from where you are now to where you are. Wildcard Line, you're on the air. You're in Pahrump.
Yes, sir.
Excellent.
Almost neighbors, I guess. Before I start my story, I had to chuckle when I don't remember, I guess it was a letter you read or a fax message from Canada, the cat story.
Oh, yes.
You might want to mention to the listeners about the fire we had here last week, and they pulled out, what was it, about 104 cats dead out of the home. I don't know if you read that in the newspaper.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, it was pretty gruesome.
Pretty horrible, yes. Pahrump is a strange place in so many ways. Are you outside?
Yes, I am. As a matter of fact, I'm on the porch.
Not mine, I presume.
Well, I'm not exactly sure where you live. My wife says I talk loud, and I didn't want to wake the kids up.
Oh, I see. So you're outside. We're getting a little bit of wind tonight, but it looks like we're going to get some rain, huh?
It sprinkled a little bit shaky and earlier.
Actually, you know, it's kind of a spooky night out here, isn't it?
Yeah, it's overcast. It has been all day, but not quite this bad.
All right, listen, I'm at a break point, so I'm going to hold you over, and since you're in Pahrump, obviously there is no charge. Just stay right where you are. We're telling ghost stories this night, and that's all we're doing. If you wish, call it Ghost to Ghost. If you wish, call it anything you want. It happens to nearly everybody. As I said earlier, there are nearly as many stories as there are all of you out there. I'm Art Bell. This is Coast to Coast AM.
US first, dial your access number to the USA. Then 800-893-0903. This is Coast to Coast AM from the Kingdom of Maine.
lot of documented ghost photographs. By the way, you should see the one on my website there from 1906. Here in the desert, with the clouds and the wind and the rain come, it's very eerie indeed. And here is my caller again. Out on his porch still?
Yes, I am. After a quick turkey break.
All right, sir. From here in Erie, Vermont, what happened?
Well, back in 1983, I was a young married father, and I took my wife and little baby. We moved to California to Long Beach. I had a rather low-paying job, and I had an uncle that offered an apartment in his apartment building to manage it, so it was for free. It was a little one-bedroom apartment, and we were so poor we didn't own a bed yet. So we had a fold-out couch. So we put the baby in his crib in the one bedroom, and we slept out on the couch until we could get a bed. Every night, usually about 9 or 10 o'clock, the baby would wake up screaming, hysterical. We'd bring him out, we brought him out, he would calm down and go to sleep. It got to the point for about a month where we wound up having to sleep with us every night. We finally got a bed, excuse me, and switched rooms. We put him out in the front room in his crib, and we slept in the bedroom.
Sure.
I guess it was about a month or so went by. One night I was sleeping, and I started having this weird dream that turned really scary. Now, as I was growing up, there was a period where I was a young kid. I had scary dreams all the time. And I guess out of necessity, I taught myself to wake up when a dream got too scary. Now this happened to me. I woke up. I was laying face down on my waterbed, and something had a hand in the middle of my back, and had a hand on the back of my head, and was shoving me down into the waterbed into the pillow. And I couldn't breathe. I opened my mouth to talk, to call for help to my wife, and whatever wasn't down my tongue, I couldn't talk. All that was coming out was a bunch of gibberish. I was struggling back and forth, and whatever was incredibly strong and shoving me down into this waterbed. I figured, well, if I wiggle back and forth enough, I'll wake my wife up. She woke up and she said, my gosh, what's going on? And she flipped on the light. As soon as she turned on the light, whatever was released me. I looked up at her, and she looked at me, and she said, oh my gosh, what happened? I feel this. She described that the room felt like it was filled with heat. I explained to her what had happened, and it was just, I didn't sleep very much that night.
Oh, thanks a lot. I've got a waterbed. And up until now, I've loved it.
Well,
I can only imagine that was attempted murder.
well, let me finish the story, and it gets even creepier. We said a couple of good prayers, and the room still felt creepy. We didn't sleep much that night. I was also working for my uncle. So the next day, I told him what had happened. He kind of scoffed at it. Oh, yeah, right. I've never had anyone else complain about living in that apartment. I said, well, I wonder what happened. And then he got kind of serious for a minute. He goes, well, there's something I didn't want to tell you. That a year before you and your wife moved in, we had a couple that lived there. And the man was a drug dealer. And he wound up being murdered in that room. Somebody came and busted in and shot him with a shotgun. And I said, if you're trying to tell me you don't believe, what I'm telling you, you think it's just a bunch of mumbo jumbo. And he really didn't say much after that. And that's basically my story. Up until then, of course, I never believed in ghosts. And after that,
That's enough for me, sir.
I've been converted.
I appreciate the call on the dark, rainy night. That was attempted murder. A presence that you can't possibly fight, pressing you down in your bed, pressing your tongue so you cannot speak, your head, your back in the bed. Good morning. You're on Ghost to Ghost AM. Where are you, please?
I'm in Tampa, Florida. Yeah, I'm listening to you on Tech.
Okay.
My story goes back to when I joined the Navy. I joined in 1980 as a nuclear power electrician. We got assigned to the USS Enterprise in 1982.
Oh, the Enterprise.
Right. And biggest nuclear power carrier in the world. She will not fit through the Panama Canal. She has to go all the way around.
I believe that. I went through the Panama Canal myself on a large, cruise liner. And as we went through, we scraped the sides of the ship, so it was that close.
Well, it has to do with ghosts that have been there for quite some time. They've been there for a very long time. The refit took 3 years before I even got to the ship. They took the superstructure off, put a new one on, and I was just getting to the boat as she came out of her refit. And so these guys who assigned watches were telling me, do you want a mid-watch, 5 and 6 switchgear? And I said, I don't know. And they said, well, there's a ghost.
Well, I'm not a Navy guy. 5 and 6 switchgear, what's that?
That's where the 5 and 6 switchgear is where the controls for the ship service turbine generators are, for paralleling and taking up and down generators. Okay. And so I didn't really much believe him, and he gave me a mid-watch. And I stood a mid-watch in 5 and 6 switchgear, and heard somebody roaming around in the back room. Because what we had in one switchgear, we had our little office where we had our morning meetings, and we had our gear coolers and our electrical equipment in there. And it sounded like someone was opening, closing drawers, moving around. And I walk in there, and there's only one way in and out, one door, and you can see it from the switchgear where you're at. And I open the door, and there's nobody in there. And I thought, well, maybe somebody's messing with me, but there was never anybody in that switchgear. And then I come to find out there was another ghost haunting number 2 and 3 switchgear. And by the way, if there's any listeners who were on the Enterprise who were in EE30, Electrical Engineering Group 30, they can verify that. And 2 and 3 switchgear, there was also a ghost. Now, from what I was told, these guys who were haunting had been vaporized by opening disconnects when they were fully energized. Now, what that had done is it drew an arc and created a fireball and vaporized him and the switchgear around him. It just vaporized everything it touched. So these people were instantly turned into gas, cinder. Right. And the 1 and 2 and 3 switchgear was more prevalent. One guy told me, he says, you can't sleep in 2 and 3 switchgear because he'll keep you awake.
This is very common. When people die that way, completely, unexpectedly, instantly, tragically, that's when they seem to remain.
And the thing was, he was like a guardian. You know what I mean? He was making sure that the guys didn't fall asleep on watch. That he'd do something to you. Now, I was just, I was wondering about the 1, 2, and 3 because I hadn't ever seen it, so I decided to play a trick. And I decided to pretend I was nodding off. And it felt like someone grabbed the back of my head, my hair, and yanked my head, jerked it, to wake me up. And I was like, man. And that just, sends a shiver up your spine.
I take it you stayed awake on 2, 3 hours.
Yes. It was really, really something.
And you're telling me that anybody who was on the Enterprise, EE30 veteran, could verify this?
Oh, yeah. Guarantee it. There's absolutely no doubt. In fact, one guy left his post screaming from 2 and 3 switchgear, but he never stand watch there again, ever. And he never told anybody what happened. And he wasn't in electrical engineering for 30. He was a conventional electrician. Sometimes really good at conventional electricians, they let stand watch on those switchgears. But see, the thing was, there was a nuclear electrician, and there was the EE30.
What kind of voltage and current were running through those?
450.
450.
Right.
That's tremendous current.
Ratings of those generators.
Not tremendous, I'm sure.
We had 8 turbine generators in all, and there were 4 main machinery rooms and 2 reactors for each. So we had a total of 8 reactors. Each reactor, I think, was 1 megawatt each. We were running about 8 megawatts of power, and we were churning and burning.
I appreciate. I'm sure you were glad to get off the Enterprise.
Well, you know what? I never really had a problem with it. It didn't really scare me.
Was there any doubt about that? Now, you say you tried to, you sort of pretended to be asleep.
Yeah, I was trying to see if it was real.
Do you think that it could have been your imagination?
Oh no. Oh no. When someone comes up to you and grabs your hair and jerks your head, you know it.
You're right.
You know it. I mean, that's something. And it happens to anybody who ever fell asleep with 2 3 switch gear, boom, they get waken up to the thing. Never fall asleep in there while you were in one.
Appreciate your call.
Yep.
Take care. He's right. There would be no mistaking somebody grabbing your hair and yanking your head up with it. First time caller line, you're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Bill.
How are you?
I'm sorry.
I said, how are you?
Pretty good. And yourself?
Fine. Where are you?
I'm calling from Southern Indiana.
Southern Indiana. Yes, sir.
I'd like to answer your questions first. You had a couple like why do ghosts stay in one place? And I think there was something right about why does the temperature change when there are ghosts around?
Well, I think the last caller was a very good example of a ghost that remained exactly there. And if that one didn't do it for you, I've got one from San Antonio, Texas, that'll curl your hair.
That was fairly scary, but I wanted to explain to you why ghosts stay there. I was speaking from the philosophical point of the ceremonial magician. I don't know if you know anything about like ceremonial magic or Kabbalah or ritual magic or anything like that.
I know a little bit of that.
Are you familiar with the philosophical elements like earth, air, fire, and water?
I am.
Well, they have spirits associated with those. They're intelligence and sorts that are similar to animals as far as their intellectual level. But sometimes the elementals can feed off emotional energy that people put out. And when people pass away, they'll leave their astral shell or astral body behind. And sometimes these elementals can take control of these astral shells. And for them to show up as a ghost, in fact, they're elementals, but they'll take on their form. And, like, for example, a deceased father or a mother or something. And when this person feels an emotional attachment to this image they see, that elemental control energy of that individual. That's one reason why ghosts stay around like that.
So in other words, they produce one of the greatest emotions a human can have, mortal fear, and then feed from it.
Yeah, fear, any kind of emotion, anger, hate, anything, elementals can feed from that. Not all elementals will do that, though. That has to be something that's learned from the it's kind of trained. Like I said, they have like intelligence of animals. That also has to do with the temperature change. The temperature change in the room, because, for example, like a water elemental produce a cool temperature in a room.
But why would a spirit be bound like a spirit on the Enterprise with a spirit? To, in effect, stand guard. Now, I'm going to tell you a very quick story, very much like it. I think a lot of the audience may have heard this, or perhaps not, but it is a true story, believe it. In San Antonio, Texas, a school bus full of children stalled on a train track. Train hit it, broadside, killed all the children, or the majority of the children on the bus. A horrible tragedy in the San Antonio area. And ever since, at that particular intersection, if a car stalls, in fact, people go and test it. They actually take their car and they drive onto these train tracks and stop and put the car in neutral. And the car is always pushed or seemingly moves by itself off the tracks and onto the road on the other side into safety. Now, they have tested this. They have taken cars and put them on the tracks with talcum powder on the back of the car.
Actually, I have heard this.
This is true story. And when the car reaches the other side of the track, there are children's handprints to be found in the talcum powder. And this can be done repeatedly. It'll occur again and again and again. And the story from the Enterprise reminded me of that.
Yeah, something like that would, may work on the same line, that a talisman may work. Now, talisman, I don't know if you're familiar with, like, how talismans operate. When a talisman is created, you create a vortex of energy that draws things to it. So, like, if you create a talisman, say, bring money to your life, or love, or whatever else you bring the talisman for, you create the magnetic attraction to that. Now, it's curious that there were several people involved in the accident when there were a few people together and an accident like this occurs. The great amount of fear for a split instant before they're killed that goes through their mind. Now, this would be imprinted on the material that was around them at the time, so that could work very similar. It could create
Imprinted on the material.
like, for example, the land around it, the specific area where the accident happened, the railroad tracks.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, iron is a very good structure for etheric energies like that.
Let me tell you a little story because we're out of time. But you mentioned it. Scientists are now believing that material things, wood, glass, crystal, in fact, most material objects carry memories. And scientists are actually getting to the point where they can extract these memories, kind of like a video show. Kind of like the, if that hotel bed could tell a story. But I'm very serious about that. Material things that soon may be able to relate to what has happened around them.
The Masters up on the sound.
Here we go, and I think we're going down to San Diego, California. And we're going to hear from a police officer named Steve. Steve, are you there?
Yes, sir, I am. On this dark and stormy night.
Yes, bad weather. The eerie weather is sweeping up through your state toward us very quickly indeed. Steve, you are a member of San Diego PD?
Yes, I am. 12 years.
12 years.
Yeah.
How long ago did this occur?
This actually happened about 12 years ago. I was just out of the academy, and I was assigned to a field training officer. We go through a couple phases of that, and I was working in the southeast area of San Diego, which at that time was a pretty high activity area, a lot of crime. And the guy I got assigned with had been on almost 30 years, and was pretty much plastic, grizzled, and he's a veteran.
So it's kind of like the rookie in the old war.
Yeah, the new blood, that's the old guy. And we were driving down one of the boulevards down about 3 in the morning, and as we approached the intersection in a residential area, we saw a male standing on the corner. And as we passed him, he appeared to be bleeding profusely from the head and his face. It just looked like he had been stabbed several times. And as we passed by, we both looked at each other and said, "Hey, did you see that?" And I said, "Yeah." And I was driving at the time, and I flipped the car around real quick and drove back, and we both got out of the car and couldn't find him. He was gone. This happened over a period of probably 3 to 5 seconds from the time it took me to put on the brakes, turn the car around, and drive back.
And he was gone that fast.
He was gone that fast. And we got out of the car, and we checked up and down the street, and there was no blood trail. There was absolutely nothing that ever indicated he was there. And we got back in the car, and we sat there quietly for a moment, and we looked at each other, and we asked each other again, and said, "Hey, did you see this guy? He had this in there, right?" We both confirmed that we both saw him, and we pretty much decided not to tell anybody after that. But yeah, I was pretty convinced that that's what we saw. We were thinking maybe it was a recent murder victim or something that may have again been restless or something.
Did you write a report up?
Oh, no. No, we just talked about it with each other, and yeah, I don't think we let it go out of the car at that time. It was just, from that point on, it really was something that I thought about occasionally, and it convinced me that certainly there's something out there that was aware of.
Boy, do I appreciate the story, Steve.
You bet that.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you, sir. Good night.
Take care. San Diego. Convince me there's something out there. something we don't understand. We think we don't understand, but it's as I keep saying, there are probably as many stories out there as there are movies. And you don't really get them until you invite them. And you've got to invite them in a certain way. You can't invite them in ridicule. You can only invite people to share once they become aware that others have seen some of the same things that they have seen. And then the outpouring is hard to stop. First time caller line, you're on the air. Hi.
This is Mike Sacramento.
Hello, Mike.
How are you? My story starts. I'm a stuntman. I do a lot of traveling around the country, and I was in Coral Gables, Florida. And there's a big hotel there called Coral Gables that used to be an Al Capone hangout. And so I went down there to do a film with a couple of buddies of mine, and as I walked into the hotel, huge palatial hotel with a huge mansion.
Was it a movie I would remember?
Bad Boy?
Bad Boys.
It was Will Smith.
I think I do recall that, yes.
Yeah, I just want to watch a lot of ghosts. But this one was the scariest one that ever happened. And so I walked through the door, and my friend Richard, I turned to this place haunted, man. Haunted. I'm going to feel that when I walked through it. A cold wind. Now, this place is huge. It's not where the house. And so we got assigned to our room, and I was the only stuntman that was on the 5th floor. And so I went to bed early, did an early call that morning. And so around 11:30, I hear a knock at my door. I get up, they're there. The guys are I lay back down. But the thing I start from my cover team pulled off. And I said, I'm and I looked down and I pressed them on the whatever. The door came. The door, nobody's there. I'm getting kind of irritated. I'm hearing like a party going on down the hallway. Somebody's been trying to sleep. I got a 4:30 call. So I lay back down and threw myself up the cover, start pulling off me again. And I'm a short sheet pants on. Right? I get up, door knocks again, open up. There's a guy in the hallway wearing a tuxedo and a red carnation. His hair slicked back. It was kind of odd because it looked like a period suit. Yes, in 1920 period.
Yes.
And I looked at the guy and he thought, I'm trying to sleep. I got to go to work tomorrow. Just knock it off. It's not funny. He kind of laughed and turned and walked down the hallway. So I shut my door. All my party. I called downstairs and I said, look, you know what? I'm not changing. It was way too late. He said, no, you're on the 5th floor. Yeah. Okay. So I hang up, go to sleep, and I didn't sleep much that night. And the next morning, I go down to the lobby, and there's a historical society booth right there. And I said, excuse me, is this place haunted? He started laughing. Oh, this is one of the most haunted places in North America. And I'm going, oh, thanks. I said, you were staying on the 5th floor, were you? I said, yeah. Well, that was where the morgue used to be during World War II. It was converted into a hospital, and that was the morgue. And I went, well, great. So immediately I went to the front desk and I'd like to move up to the 5th floor. That's what I would have done. And if you were talking about it, can I tell one more quick story?
Very quickly, yes.
Okay, I was at Rosemary Clooney's house, and the house used to belong to Russ Columbo. Russ Columbo was a crooner during the when they kind of predecessor Bing Crosby.
Yes.
And so I went into their bathroom. I didn't know their house was haunted at the time. I went into their bathroom. I started going to the bathroom, and some guy behind me goes, "Hey, buddy, what do you think you're doing?" And I jumped literally out of the bathroom, picking myself up and running into the front room. Oh my God, there's a guy in the bathroom.
They're probably not needing the bathroom.
No. That was like, I was going to hit. My friend, Miguel, Rosemary's son, started laughing. Well, that was Russ Columbo. He's always been that shot in the head.
So, you wow, shot in the head.
Yeah, because by accident, it was one of those fake cannons. You buy through Lord or whatever, and someone had some deviant or marble inside it. And it was set off and ricochet around the room and hit him in the head.
All right, I appreciate the call, sir. Thank you. Take care. Wild card line, you're on the air. Hi there. Where are you? Houston. All right, you're going to have to yell at us a little. You're not too loud.
Oh, okay. Well, my name is Mary. I'm originally from Houston. Well, I lived in Georgia, Alabama, Georgia. We got out of Atlanta, called Georgia. very historical little town.
Beautiful area, all the southern mansion type.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah. Well, I lived behind the mansion in a garage apartment overlooking the ferry. And when we moved into the apartment, my brother-in-law was kidding me about it. And I would never be alone. Okay? Well, I figured, it's because he was in the ferry. Well, one night, my husband, he worked out of town. And he would only come in on the weekends. And I was there by myself all the time, which is kind of sweet anyway. And I'm not, prone to it. But my imagination was out. Well, early in 1975, I was with his house at the apartment. All by myself. I'm shaking and I had the TV on, and it started acting funny, and it was picking up, ads.
Really?
Right. Okay, the apartment I could not get it anymore. And I was just restless that night, and wandering back and forth between the bedroom and the living room. And at the top of the landing, was 13 steps down to the front door, and had a little window. Okay, in this little window, I saw like something. Okay. And I kept hearing this coming. I kept turning off the TV and everything and listening, and I heard it coming. And it wasn't like a heater coming or the air or anything. It was actually very close. So I was nervous. I said, I could not sleep. I kept hearing this coming. But it was like a mechanical coming or anything like that. Electronic. It was like a voice coming. Okay. So being I was up all night and everything, I decided the next morning I was going to walk. So I walked out there and I was seeing all the old Confederate tombstones. It was all the unwatched graves.
Oh, yes.
All time and everything. When I came back over to the apartment, there was one little structure area with white on it and everything. And it had about 16 months in it. So I walked around it and I looked. It was so creepy. There was a young lady who tombstone was there about back in, I believe it was 1863. Her name was Mary Roberts. She died at 16 years old. My baby name. They removed.
You got out of there.
Yeah.
I must say, graveyards are very strange places. They really are very strange places.
They are quiet neighbors.
Quiet neighbors, no, you can feel them. Thank you very much. I've got a little story for you. My wife and I love Paris, France. City of Lights. We'll go back there and we'll go back again. Paris is a magical town. Whatever you may say about the French, and there's a lot you can say about the French, Paris itself is just, there is no city like Paris. Very romantic town. In our last visits to Paris, we decided to travel about, 20 miles outside the center of the city and visit the burial place of Jim Morrison. It was a very, very, very large cemetery, and we had a very difficult time finding the burial place of Jim Morrison. And I finally got sick of looking at it. There were tombs everywhere, and they were truly ancient, back in 1800s, late 1700s. It was creepy. I mean, they were all around you. You were literally in a field of graves. Many of them decrepit. Many of them, the inscriptions very difficult to read, and I felt like I was sick of looking, so I said, I'm just going to sit here and wait. And Ramona would take up the hill and look for Jim Morrison's resting place. But just sitting there by myself, in the middle of all these very old stone graves, I I don't want to tell you because I would be lying. That I feel a presence because I didn't. I felt a kind of universal presence, a kind of reverence that I can't quite explain for a place where many lives came to rest. So no ghost story there, just a very eerie feeling. We did and sitting there by myself with all of these prints, many of them prints around me. Very odd feeling. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Good morning. Hello.
Good morning.
I'm okay. You're going to have to kind of yell at us.
This is Dave from Northern New Jersey,
Yes, sir.
40 miles west of New York City.
Okay.
A lot of people out here love you.
Thank you.
And we're tired of the Art Bell bashing, the local affiliate.
No, you refer not to the local affiliate, but to Curtis Levi.
Correct.
And his little angels, band of angels. They're supposedly coming out here to talk to me.
He talked about it in the whole past for a week and a half.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
In any event,
You ruined my NFL Sunday and they'll be held to pay. I'll tell you that right now. Anyway, do you have a story?
I've got a wonderful one. It's a little bit long. I'll try to keep that brief. I got my parents a puppy back in 1980. That had completely lost its hearing. I had read that it was very cathartic to healing an animal the first time went through traumatic loss.
It absolutely is. It lowers blood pressure. Scientifically proven again and again. Listen, it's going to take obviously a moment for this story to unwind. So let me go ahead and do the break and then come back and we'll get it full on, all right? Okay. Right there. Yes. Yes, if Curtis and his little band of so-called angels come out and screw with my NFL Sunday, they're going to be haunting the halls of WABC. You hear me, Curtis? From the high desert, I'm Art Bell. This is Coast to Coast AM. From the Kingdom of Nye, this is Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell. From east of the Rockies, call Art at 1-800-825-5033. West of the Rockies, including Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, and New Mexico, at 1-800-618-8255. First-time callers may reach Art at area code 702-727-1222. And you may fax Art at area code 702-727-8499. Please limit your faxes to 1 or 2 pages. This is Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell. Now again, here's Art. Once again, here I am. We're only doing one thing tonight. That's ghost stories. And they've been good ones, too. So, in a moment, we'll continue.
You're listening to an encore performance of Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell.
From the Kingdom of Nye, across the country, around the world, and throughout the universe, this is Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell on the TBC Radio Network.
back to the best of our film.
Go right ahead.
Okay, I got the puppy from my dad back in 1980. It was a highly evolved animal, Karen Terrier, and like Toto.
There are some dogs and cats that are more evolved than others.
She was definitely a unique animal. Even though I didn't live with my mom and dad, she was my dog. It's kind of weird.
No, not really. It happens.
In October of 1991, she developed a lump on her back. It got bigger and bigger and bigger. Took her to bed. Turned out she had an inoperable type of cancer called fibrosis sarcoma with a 1 to 3% cure rate, which is like a death sentence.
Right.
I didn't want to accept it. I must have taken her to 8 or 9 vets throughout the state of New Jersey. My friends thought I was crazy. Getting obsessed, better.
No, I understand.
Anyway, to make a long story short, I finally got networking with a veterinary oncologist in Red Bank, New Jersey. He was affiliated with the University of Pennsylvania Veterinary College, teaching college. And he had just started a new interferon-based drug that had been approved by the Department of Agriculture, which is the government arm for drugs for animals, is the FDA is for people.
Sure.
And he gave her the treatments, and she was cancer-free within 3 months.
The tumor receded.
It receded, and it just kind of popped off. It was like a bowl of jelly on her back, and they operated, and it was gone, and there was no trace.
Wow.
She made the front page, the Asbury Park Press, which is the main paper presenting the truth. Leadership is about money, too. Anyway, she finally got cancer back